Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. So in this video, I want to talk about how you can find ways to break in as an entry-level or junior dev job if you're having trouble with the conventional route. So let's say you're sending out your resume, applying to jobs on LinkedIn, Indeed, stuff like that, even reaching out to friends and your personal network, and that's still yielding no results. There are ways you can still work around that. And in this video, I'm going to get into some of that. Now, I'm working off another YouTube video where I got some of these ideas that I agree with very much. His name is Sylvester Morgan, and he's kind of like me. He's a self-taught developer, and he runs his own YouTube channel. Excuse me, he runs his own YouTube channel. It's called Sylvester Morgan, and it's pretty good, so I recommend you look into it and subscribe and follow his videos. So I'm going to play the excerpt from the video that I want to reply to, and yeah, take it from there.
I had a comment the other day. A guy was sharing an article and a video talking about whether or not companies hire junior developers, and he was feeling kind of discouraged about it all. And so I did answer the question in the comment, but I also just want to share it here that listen, there are ways to work around not having experience yet. There's so many proactive things you can do. Marketing yourself, networking, attending meetups, getting jobs related to the field, but not necessarily what you want to do. So, for example, database development or getting a job doing something like help desk just to get your foot in the door. Another piece of advice that I've heard and that I agree with is that you don't have to apply only for junior jobs, junior or entry level. Even though my resume said entry level in the title when I got started, I applied for a position that was looking for 3 years of experience, so more like mid level, and I got the job. So you don't necessarily need to be looking for junior level positions or entry level positions. The people with those job titles are probably doing the same work as those without the titles, but they're probably doing it for less pay. And then again, I've said this a bunch. Once you get your foot in the doors are wide open. People are going to be reaching out, trying to hire you. So don't be discouraged. There's a great demand for people who know how to code.
Okay, so a couple takeaways there. So the main takeaway is that if you're having trouble breaking into the conventional routes, you should try applying for work that may not exactly fit what you're looking for. He specifically mentioned like database development or even help desk, IT help desk. And that is actually really good advice for people who are struggling just through regular means. He gave the usual advice like go to meetups and use your personal network and stuff like that, and that's all fine. That's all pretty standard stuff. But one thing that I've noticed when I talk to people who want to be hired is that if they're offered a role, you know, I've offered assistant roles, junior dev roles that I've been turned down a lot. Like people said, "Thank you for the offer, but I don't think this is right for me right now." Um, Mostly because it doesn't exactly fit what they want, right? And that becomes a matter of your options, personal leverage, and your options. Well, if you're balancing other offers and you're evaluating, you know, a series of options, all of which are pretty good, great. That's great. Good for you. I support your decision to pursue what you feel is best, what you want to pursue. But more often is the case for me that when somebody turns down something that someone I want to hire, when that person turns it down, it's because he doesn't have something else lined up. He just says it's not like the perfect fit for what he wants to do. And um, in every code base, in every assignment, every job, there is dirty work. There are dirty deeds that have to be done. And if I don't have a junior dev doing it, then I do it. So, for example, in one of my last clients, you know, I built out the usual. Well, it wasn't Node Express. It was a C# backend, but there was a React front end, React Redux, and all that crap. And you know, I was doing the usual front end integration. Excuse me, and then uh, involved in that is always just a huge mess of just configuring the CSS, specifically the Sass files, you know, organizing all the variables, making sure all the individual Sass files use the same set of variables, a common set of variables. So for example, in one SAS file, it might be the background color might be listed as like a hex code, and then in another SAS file, that same background color might be a global variable called green or light green. Well, what should it be? They should both be light green. The variable. That's what SAS is for. That's what less is for. So things like that, or if you have like duplicate class names across like 4 different SAS files, those should be abstracted into one universal SAS that can be imported between all the modules. This is dirty work. This is very, very monotonous, boring, mindless work, and everyone hates it. But guess what? If I don't have anyone else to do it, I do it, and I'm billing my full rate no matter what. So typically, what always happens is when I'm doing this kind of client work, I will explain to my client, within a 6-hour block of time, 4 of those hours is mostly menial responsibilities that I really could pass off to a junior dev, and then 2 of those hours, just approximations, is senior level work. Like integrating different environments, getting the API to hook up correctly, stuff like that, validating parameters, things of that sort. So that's where I'm really doing what I need to be doing. But the other roughly 70%, right, 65, 70%, it could be handed off to a junior dev billing $20 an hour, $25 an hour, and saving my client money, saving me just the torture of dealing with all that crap, and getting the junior dev some experience. But the client almost always is down with this. They're almost always like, yeah, great, let's go for it. Let's find some junior devs, save me some money, and get you on the more important stuff. And this happens every single assignment. And what oftentimes happens is, I'll talk to a series of people wanting to enter the industry, and they'll be like, yeah, I'm not sure I want to do that kind of work. I'm more of a back end guy. I'm not a front end guy. Like I'm more of a, I want to work more on the API side. It's like, okay, great, but what are your options right now? Like, do you have any better options? If not, then this might be a foolish decision. Like, do the dirty work. Do the work that other people don't want to do. Hell, do it for free. The access alone is worth the wage. If you prove your value over a short period of time, even just a month, like a month, maybe 2 months. If you prove your worth, they're gonna hire you. They're gonna pay you market rate. The reason it's so hard to get a job is because the risk is so high of making the wrong hire. Even if you work for free, if you're the wrong hire, it still ends up being a lot of wasted time on the senior developer for the onboarding process. But if you're a good hire and you're working for free, any good company is going to make sure you don't go somewhere else. Even if it's not the company, it'll be me. I'll be the one to say, like, look, I'll just pay you out of my own hourly. Like, I need to make sure you're around because it's just so hard to find good people. So the one way you can do that is by offering, to do the dirty work, pay it or not. The only thing I would say as far as unpaid goes is to say, make it clear that this is a trial basis. Like, if after a month you like what I'm doing, then you pay me. Otherwise, there could be a miscommunication. That's happened to me in the past. It happened to me about 3 years ago, where this one college kid was like, yeah, I want to work for you for free. I want to learn as much as possible. So I did that. This is sort of my first experience along those lines. Um, and then he ended up, like, after like 2 or 3 weeks, ended up being like, look, you have to start paying me because I'm making no money this summer. And, it really turned me off. I felt a little bit taken advantage of because I was like, what do you think? I'm just teaching you, like, I'm making money by teaching you how to program? Like, this is okay. That's a whole separate matter. But um, so just make it clear is kind of the moral of that story. Make it clear, like, all right, I'm willing to do this dirty work for a month for no charge, but after a month, let's revisit. And if you like what I'm doing, then you start paying me and like set a rate. So like $30 an hour, $25 an hour, whatever. So that there's no misunderstanding. Otherwise, there's going to be hard feelings, and I wouldn't blame the person for feeling that way. So the point is, do the dirty work. What a lot of entry level people in general, not just devs, but entry level people in general, they don't look at the long game, which is if you prove your value, you prove your worth, then you gain access. Then the company they will want you to work on the more challenging thing. They're going to move you up to the more hard problems. Obviously, they're going to pay you more too, and then you're going to see how things work at a more sophisticated level, and that'll just keep on happening if you're good, right? Uh, this is not like a magic solution for people who are not good. Like if you're not good, just quit. You're not going to make it. But if you're good and you're hardworking, then you might have to push a little harder to break in. Um, I will say this was my entry route into the industry. This is literally how I did this. If you've watched any of my previous videos where I explain how I got started when I moved to New York City in 2012, I had a hard time getting contracts. Well, at least for the first month or so. And so what I would do is I would offer to work for free for 2 weeks. I would say, I'm going to do this for you for 2 weeks for free. If you like it, you pay me. If not, you don't owe me anything, no harm, no foul. I'll go back and lick my wounds and try to improve. And that worked. That was a successful way to get my foot in the door. And then once that was established, it's on me to continue proving myself. Like, it doesn't end there. You have to continue proving yourself. That pretty much never stops. But just getting that first opportunity might be very difficult for some people. So this advice doesn't apply to everyone. This is important to understand. Not everyone needs to resort to these means. Some people just have connections right off the bat, and they just, their network just hooks them up with the right job, or maybe their college has a great career services department, whatever, and that's fine, and take advantage of that. But a lot of people have a hard time just getting that first opportunity, and it might not necessarily be your fault. I don't know. The reasons don't really matter. The point is there are ways you can address it, and one of those ways is do the dirty deeds. Do the hard, not the hard work, the dirty work, right? So another example for me is if somebody said to me, hey, I know that in your assignments, often the case is you have to go through several dozen image assets and then recompress them and then upload them to an S3 bucket as compressed files so that your client, their architecture, their CDN isn't so heavily crushed on bandwidth. Once you compress it, it's like it's 8:1 to 10:1 compression ratio. So there are many times where I'm just sitting there downloading images, compressing them, re-uploading them, reconnecting the URLs inside the code base one at a time, times 200 images. And I'm billing my full rate for that. Even when I'm billing my full rate, do you think I enjoy this work? I don't want to do that. That sucks. That sucks. Right? The whole time I'm just like, I want to shoot myself in the face. This sucks. I wish I had just a shithead college kid to just take care of all this for me, right? And I'll pay him $30 an hour. But guess what? The college kids are like, yeah, that's not for me. I think I'd rather do a job that's a little bit more in line with my major or whatever. And again, that's fine if you have the options. But if you don't, hey, that's some dirty work you can take on. You should tell a senior developer or a development shop, hey, give all that shit to me. I will do that. Like, give me all the crap work that nobody wants to do, like image compression, or like another example is like a website redesign. Oftentimes the copy is changed all over the place. 15 pages of new copy. So I'm just going from one page to another. Every page might have like 3 paragraph tags, and I'm just like copy, paste, and like that takes hours. And then like the designers or the client like will change the copy like 5 times. So it's like, oh, on this about page, this is what I meant to say, and then like 4 days later, oh, I meant on this about page, you should say this instead. Oh, I'm sorry, this is what I meant to write on that about page, times 15 pages. So it's not like you get one set of copy to replace another set. That's not what happens. It's always, here's 18 versions of the new copy, Figure out where the pieces go, right? And that's it. That's the job. And is that is that worth what I charge per hour? No, that's a stupid job. That's a like a minimum wage type job. Like I can teach a high school kid how to do that effectively. And the real point is, I don't want to do it. Right? I just don't want to do that. I would rather just stare at the ceiling for 2 hours. Like I don't want to do that kind of work, but that's what the client pays me to do. That's what I do. Now, um, that's the dirty work. If you can literally articulate to certain developers and dev shops, like, here, I know you do this and that, and like nobody wants to do it, I will take on that work for free, or like just really low rate, 20 bucks an hour, 15 bucks an hour. I will do that. And then after a month, if you feel that my services are of value to your company, your organization, I would like to reassess the payment. That's a good deal. The Coming from the other side, so someone approached me with that. My only hesitation would be this. I would be like, hey, that's a great offer. I really thank you for coming to me with this. My only hesitation is, how much hand holding are you going to need? How much time from me are you going to need? That would be my only hesitation. I would be like, look, I'm fundamentally down with this, but I don't want to spend 4 hours with you a day teaching you shit, right? Because that's really what kind of people expect. And I had another interview 2 weeks ago because I'm trying to hire a junior dev, and the guy was like, I mean, he's a smart guy. He's like, I don't, but he didn't know any of this stuff. He didn't know Node, React, or whatever. And he was just, yeah, I was just hoping I could learn as much as I possible. Like, that's kind of why I replied to this position. I want to learn as much as I can. It's like, okay, but you don't know anything. Like, I'm just paying you to teach you now. And it's like, that didn't quite register. It's like, do you understand? Like, I'm paying you to teach you stuff, and like nothing else is going to happen. Like, I'm not going to get anything in return, right? So that would be my only hesitation. So if you can find an effective way to sort of address that concern. So maybe if you said to me, yeah, I get that. That makes a lot of sense. So what I'm going to do is, whatever I can't figure out, I'm just going to go home and Google the shit out of it, and like it's just not going to be on you. And then the only time, if I can't figure that out after a couple of days, then I'll ask you, and I'll try to use you as a resource to solve it. But that'll be a last resort. Um, then I would be more inclined to go along with it. Then I would be like, all right, let's give it a shot. I'd still be a little bit like, I want to make sure this guy isn't going to suck up all my time. But I'd be leaning more towards yes than no. I'd be like, all right, let's see. Let's see if this can work, right? And I would give it a month. And if it works, then I'll start paying the guy, because no way would I want to lose someone like that, right? But too many people don't even give themselves the opportunity, because they shoot themselves in the foot. They're like, yeah, that job isn't for me. I really want to do Node Express on the back end and React on the front end. It's like, all right, well, no one's going to trust you with that with no experience. They're just not. So you think I'm going to put a junior dev on my code base on Turbo? Yeah, no way. No, out of the question. So, they're going to start on the most simple CSS crap on like the contact page, and like that's it. And then after a month, I'm going to evaluate whether or not that person is a long-term solution. So every project has a lot of dirty work, dirty deeds that need to be done that nobody wants to do. If you can present yourself as a solution to that, that's a good way to break in. That'll work. And what's interesting in today's dynamic is it's probably not a tech thing. It's probably just an overall, like, just a societal thing. Is really nobody takes that angle anymore. Nobody wants to do that, the dirty work. Everyone kind of thinks they're mid-level, or they don't think it. They want to enter like a mid-level situation right away, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's just not practical. I'm not going to have like someone work on my React Redux code base who has zero professional experience. He will just destroy it, and it's just not a practical entry point. And again, this is not true for everyone. If you're, a whiz kid at MIT or Cal Berkeley, and you invented a new, whatever, a new programming language that everyone uses. Okay, you're different. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the other 99%. So, so that's it. That's probably the strongest piece of advice I would take away from Sylvester Morgan's video. Again, I recommend you check him out. He's pretty good. I like his just general demeanor and his perspective on things. He kind of reminds me of me, actually. He's just sort of like, here's the information, do with it what you will. So that's his channel, and he has his